Hi, my name's Heather. I'm a certified arborist in Bloomington, Indiana. And today, let's take a moment to discuss invasive plants. Um, I think in the news, there's often talk about, property rights and I should be able to have what I want on my property. And, on one hand, I get that. But on the other hand, um, by keeping invasive plants around, it is guaranteeing that someone else is going to have them on their property, whether they want them or not. And, you know, where it gets to be a problem, even past that, is a lot of these plants that, various states have put on their invasive species list, they get into our forests, which, that's where we like to go to get away from it all. We want to commune with nature. And these are maintained either by, state governments or if it's a national forest, it's, maintained at the federal level. So when we have a lot of invasive plants like, uh, Bradford pears, it's yet another budgetary concern that needs to be considered by whoever's taking care of the forest. Um, and there's people who are like, well, it's becoming naturalized, so why not just leave it? But in the reason why a plant is listed as invasive non-native is because they actually crowd out native plants. And the reason that is a problem is all the understory plants in a forest, or even, if it's a swampland or a prairie, once invasive plants get out in there and start taking over the real estate, it that means there are no flowering plants for our native pollinators, and that affects our food supply. So, because we should remember, if we go back to that video, all the plants or all the flowers, pardon me, um, our pollinators need flowers all the time. And, so when we have, say, a plant like Amur honeysuckle or Bradford pears, when they start taking up so much real estate, they flower and they're done. I will have to go take a picture of this place in my community. It's in the county designation rather than the city, so I don't think we have, mandatory nuisance laws in the county here yet. But it's like a hectare of Bradford pears. It's embarrassing, and it's a kind of a environmental disaster. And I would think it would affect the property values, of the homes in that area. So, you know, it's I get where people get frustrated. Almost all of the plants we have problems with, it came here, due to, could be a world fair. Um, it, I think we used to have different ideas about controlling erosion, like on sloped home sites and properties. But so I get that, these were suggested to us, And now we're stuck with them and it's a mess. But also, waiting too long to remove invasive plants is going to make it worse. And, you know, sometimes we see headlines in, I want to say New Hampshire. Anyway, there's a species of rabbit that is, endemic to this one little tiny spot of the United States. And Amur honeysuckle has removed all the understory plants in this area so that, you know, this rabbit's future is really unquestioned. And so people say, well, it's just a rabbit, but when the plants go, so do our pollinators. And then goes our food. So if you want to eat, you got to get rid of the native or invasive plants, sorry. And not all non-native plants are considered invasive. They might not be contributing as habitat or food source for our native insects, but have whatever. I thought I was going to get through a video without having to go back. But, for whatever reason, certain plants don't become invasive, even if they didn't originate in our country. So, anyway, just some thoughts. If you want a lower tax bill, if you want to keep your property values in a good place, if you like the birds and the bees and you like to eat, those are some really good reasons to get rid of native. Man, that is not a Freudian slip, I promise. To get rid of invasive, non native species. Thanks.